Stephen Smellie, activist in the public sector, UK trade union UNISON, the biggest trade union in the United Kingdom, and trade union liaison for the campaign group Peace in Kurdistan. Thanks for joining us today.
Very pleased to be here, Erem. Nice to see you.
Thank you. So let's start with the northern Iraq situation first. In the past months, Turkey has begun another effort to invade northern Iraq on the premises of fighting against the PKK. In their war against the Kurdish people, many civilians have been killed or displaced in the process. What do you think about Turkey's invasion of northern Iraq and their expansionist agenda in the region, and why have international governments such as the UK remained silent on this issue?
I think what Turkey are doing in northern Iraq is appalling. It's absolutely shocking. It's in breach of all international treaties. It's an invasion. It's an invasion that's not called an invasion. What they're and the fact that countries like the UK have been silent on it is equally appalling. This is inexplicable in many ways. Turkey's objectives are clear. They wish to suppress the Kurdish people, whether it be within their own borders, within Turkey, or in the surrounding region. They seek domination of the region, and they are getting away with, well, they're getting away with murder, actually, by the West, UK, US, EU, refusing to condemn this latest invasion of northern Iraq. It should be condemned without any doubt. It should be condemned universally.
And another big issue is Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan, the imprisoned leader of the Kurdish movement, continues to be kept in conditions of harsh isolation in violation of international rights convention as well. A mass hunger strike continues on its now it's over 210 days in prisons in Turkey, with people demanding the end to the isolation and resumption of negotiations for a peace process, in which Öcalan plays a central role. Actually, what are your thoughts on this ongoing situation and the importance of Öcalan for achieving a peaceful political resolution of the Kurdish question?
Mr. Ocalan's role in the Kurdish movement, and wider than simply the Kurdish movement, his role in the peace movement and the movement for democracy is unquestioned. He's been there in that role for many years, and his imprisonment is another example of Turkey's refusal to engage with its own population. Ocalan should be freed. There's no doubt about that. Ocalan should not only be his isolation removed, but he should be freed from prison to allow him to play a constructive role in terms of achieving a peaceful solution to the Kurdish question. But I would say that it's not simply about this one man. The isolation of Ocalan is symbolic of the attempted isolation of the Kurdish identity, Kurdish culture, Kurdish expression, Kurdish politics, the Kurdish people as a whole. Turkey wishes to isolate Kurdish people and all expressions of Kurdishness. And the use of isolation of Ocalan is just part of that. You see that in a whole variety of different ways in which Kurdish expression, Kurdish political parties, Kurdish activists are isolated, and all the arms of the state are used against them. The media is closed down, their activists are imprisoned, and so on and so forth. So it's not just about the isolation of Mr. Ocalan as a leader. It's about the isolation of the Kurdish people, and the international community increasingly recognises the role that Ocalan has played in the justice behind his case. But it's time that those governments internationally spoke up in favour of ending the isolation of Ocalan, and indeed ending the isolation of Kurdish identity within Turkey.
Dear Stephens, another issue as well. As you know, the campaign that you are part of it since beginning. You are the one of the important supporters of that. They are continue to be a large international campaign to realize freedom for Öcalan, including the Freedom for Öcalan UK Trade Union campaign. In the context of Öcalan's importance for a peace process, what do you think is the significance of the Freedom for Öcalan campaign?
Well, the significance of the trade union Freedom for Ocalan campaign is simply that. The trade unions in the UK have identified him, Mr. Ocalan, and his role, not just as an individual, but as his role within a movement which is in favour of peace and democracy. Trade unions are built on the basis of solidarity, of democracy and peace. And all the values that we learn from Ocalan are echoed within the values of the trade union movement. So it's about recognising that, and 6 million members of trade unions in the UK and many more internationally signing themselves, if you like, as supporters of Ocalan, I think is significant. It is about getting that message into the grassroots, into the understanding of ordinary working people in the United Kingdom through their trade unions, that here is a man like Nelson Mandela in the past, who is symbolic of a movement for justice, for freedom, for democracy, that we want to support and we will continue to support.
Turkish government recently began the process of attempting to officially shut down the HDP. Furthermore, a couple of weeks ago, as you remember, we saw the racist attack and murder of a Kurdish family of 7 in the Konya region of Turkey.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Turkish government's prosecution of the Kurds, and how this is creating an environment of hostility and racism inside the Turkey?
The HDP party, the People's Democratic Party in Turkey, has played a really inspiring role over a number of years since its formation, because it brought together not just the expression of the Kurdish movement, but brought together other people, all the progressive forces within Turkey, and it was an inspiration throughout Europe and the rest of the world in what it was able to achieve. And I've visited Turkey on a number of occasions, met many HDP activists, and been inspired by their bravery, because those of us in the West who get involved in active politics in one shape or another don't fully understand that when you're in a country like Turkey and you stand up for a party like the HDP that challenges the dominant government party, that you're putting yourself and your family at risk every time. And I have inspired every time I've been there, I've inspired by the thousands and thousands of HDP members who, despite the pressures, despite the threats, despite the arrests, despite the attacks, despite the assassinations, they have continued to organise. They've continued to stand up for what is right. And I would want to pay tribute to all of those hundreds, thousands of HDP members who have been imprisoned by the state for no reason other than speaking up for democracy. The attempts of the Turkish government now to close it down are a symbol. First of all, I think it has to be recognised as a symbol of the weakness of the Turkish government, because you wouldn't, if they were in a strong position, if they were able to win all the arguments, if they were able to win the elections without having to resort to intimidation, then they wouldn't have to shut down a political party like the HDP. So it's a sign of weakness. And I think the HDP at this point in time needs the active support of political parties throughout the world, particularly the social democratic parties like in the UK, the Labour Party, but also the SNP and other parties in Scotland, who should be shouting out and standing up for the leaders of the HDP who are in prison, Demirtas and Figen Yüksekdag, who I met in Edinburgh a number of years ago, was very impressed by her. We need to be shouting from the rooftops, demanding that our government speak up for the HDP. And the development which flows from that, when a government turns against a party like that and a movement like that, it encourages those, reactionary people, those violent people within society, to think there's an open target. You're entitled to go and treat people like that. So the kind of murders that have been taking place, really appalling examples of people being murdered for no other reason than they are Kurdish by what can only be described as fascist thugs, and who are under cover and getting protected by the police, and no action being taken against them. It's just, it flows through, and it's a form of nascent fascism. That's all it is. I mean, that's what was happening in Turkey. From the top down, they've created this agenda, and it's allowed free rein to violent thugs to think that they can get away with murder, and they so far are getting away with murder. So I condemn all that, and I stand in solidarity with the people of the HDP and the struggle they are engaged in, and I call on my own trade union, my own political party, the Labour Party, to say more and do more to support the HDP.
Activist, trade unionist, and supporter of Peace in Kurdistan campaign and Freedom for Ocalan campaign, Stefan Smellie. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for your valuable comments today.
Thank you very much, Erem. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.